Nikola Tesla's life began in the most dramatic of circumstances, a stormy night on July 10, 1856, in the small village of Smiljan, nestled in what is now Croatia. As lightning cracked across the sky and thunder roared over the humble home, the midwife attending his birth is said to have declared that the storm was a bad omen, that this child would bring darkness to the world. But Tesla's mother, Georgina, a woman of sharp intelligence and inventive spirit herself, immediately corrected her. "No, he will be a child of light." Those words, whether legend or truth, became the prophecy of a man who would one day seek to harness the very power of lightning itself. From the earliest days of his childhood, Tesla was anything but ordinary. He displayed an extraordinary memory, able to recite entire books and recall details with photographic precision. He had an imagination so vivid that he could see inventions in his mind as clearly as if they were already built, often designing and testing machines entirely in his head before committing anything to paper. This gift, however, came with torment. Tesla was plagued by strange visions and bursts of light that would appear suddenly, disrupting his thoughts and overwhelming his senses. These hallucinations frightened those around him but also gave him an uncanny ability to visualize concepts in extraordinary detail. His father, Milutin Tesla, was a stern but well-educated Serbian Orthodox priest who wanted his son to follow in his footsteps and enter the church, but Nikola's mother was the real inspiration behind his genius. Although she had no formal education, Georgina possessed an inventive mind, creating household tools and mechanical devices, and she passed on both her creativity and resilience to her son. Tragedy struck Tesla's childhood when his beloved older brother Dane, considered even more talented than Nikola, died in a horse-riding accident. The event devastated the family and cast a long shadow over Tesla's youth. His father grieved deeply, while Nikola wrestled with feelings of guilt and inadequacy, as if he had to live not just his own life but the unrealized life of his brother as well. This early trauma pushed him further inward, intensifying both his brilliance and his eccentricities. Despite these hardships, Tesla excelled in school, often astonishing teachers with his ability to solve complex problems in his head, and his hunger for knowledge seemed limitless. He devoured books on science, mathematics, and electricity, showing an early fascination with the mysterious forces of nature. Unlike most children who played with toys, Tesla experimented with mechanical devices, water wheels, and primitive electrical setups, constantly trying to understand the invisible powers around him. In these formative years, the foundations of his genius were laid, combining raw intelligence, creative vision, emotional pain, and a restless drive to discover. When Nikola Tesla finally arrived in the United States in 1884, he was a man full of dreams but with barely anything in his pockets, just 4 cents, a book of poetry, and a head filled with inventions that could change the world. New York City at that time was a bustling hub of opportunity, glowing with the promise of the electric age, and Tesla wasted no time seeking out the man who stood at its center, Thomas Edison. Edison was already a celebrated inventor, a national hero known for his incandescent light bulb and his system of direct current, or DC, power distribution. Tesla was introduced to him by Charles Batchelor, Edison's trusted assistant, who praised Tesla as a brilliant engineer and problem solver. Initially, Tesla worked under Edison, tasked with improving his DC machines. His genius quickly became apparent, and he was said to have impressed Edison with his relentless energy and fresh ideas. But cracks soon appeared in their relationship, as Tesla saw flaws in Edison's system. DC power could not travel long distances without significant energy loss, making it expensive and inefficient, especially for cities that needed widespread power. Tesla had already conceived of a better alternative, alternating current, or AC, which could be transmitted over vast distances with minimal loss, using transformers to step voltage up and down safely. This idea directly challenged Edison's empire. The clash between the two men became more than a scientific debate. It was a battle of pride, ego, and money, later known as the War of Currents. Edison, unwilling to abandon his lucrative DC patents, dismissed Tesla's AC system as dangerous and impractical. He even mocked Tesla publicly, once joking that Tesla's ideas were splendid, but utterly impractical. Determined to prove himself, Tesla left Edison's company and struck out on his own. At first, he struggled, working manual jobs, digging ditches, and living in poverty while trying to secure funding for his AC experiments. His breakthrough came when he met George Westinghouse, a visionary industrialist who recognized the potential of Tesla's system. Westinghouse purchased Tesla's AC patents and brought him into partnership, giving Tesla the financial support and platform he needed. Together, they demonstrated the superiority of AC by powering the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, an event that lit up millions of light bulbs and stunned the world with its brilliance. The success silenced critics and proved that AC was the future of electricity. But the war was far from over. Edison launched a smear campaign, trying to instill fear in the public by staging gruesome demonstrations where animals were electrocuted with AC current to label it as deadly. He even supported the invention of the electric chair as a way to tarnish AC's reputation. Tesla, however, remained undeterred, focusing on his vision rather than the politics of the fight. Ultimately, AC triumphed, powering cities and homes across America, while Edison's DC faded into history. Yet, in this victory, Tesla also sowed the seeds of future struggles, for although he had won the scientific war, he had also made powerful enemies who would never forgive his challenge to their control. Tesla was not merely an inventor, he was a visionary whose imagination soared far beyond the horizons of his own time, producing ideas and technologies that would shape the world for generations to come. At the heart of his genius lay his ability to see the unseen, to conceptualize machines and systems in such intricate detail that he could build them mentally before ever touching a tool. Among his most groundbreaking contributions was the development of the induction motor, a device that harnessed the principles of alternating current to create efficient, reliable motion, laying the foundation for modern appliances, industrial machines, and even electric vehicles of today. Then came the Tesla coil, a high-voltage transformer that not only dazzled crowds with brilliant arcs of electricity leaping into the air but also demonstrated the possibility of wireless power transmission, a dream Tesla held close throughout his life. His experiments with fluorescent and neon lighting showed glimpses of a future illuminated by energy-efficient systems, while his exploration of radio waves positioned him as one of the true pioneers of wireless communication. In fact, Tesla demonstrated radio-controlled boats as early as 1898, astonishing audiences at Madison Square Garden by maneuvering a small craft with nothing but invisible waves, an invention so far ahead of its time that some observers dismissed it as magic or trickery. He envisioned a future where ships, machines, and even weapons could be operated remotely, a prophecy that foreshadowed today's drones and robotics. But perhaps Tesla's most ambitious and misunderstood project was his vision of global wireless energy, epitomized by the grand Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island. With this massive structure, he dreamed of transmitting power through the very earth and atmosphere, delivering free energy to every corner of the globe without the need for wires, fuel, or costly infrastructure. He believed electricity should not be a commodity controlled by the wealthy but a natural force available to all humanity, as universal as sunlight. Yet, such revolutionary thinking threatened the financial interests of industrial titans like J.P. Morgan, who had initially funded Tesla's work but withdrew support when he realized free energy would destroy the profitability of his copper wire and energy monopolies. With funds cut off, Wardenclyffe was never completed, and Tesla's dream of a world powered by limitless, free energy slipped away. Still, Tesla's notebooks reveal even more astonishing visions, thoughts on harnessing the Earth's natural resonances, ideas for beam weapons capable of ending wars, and concepts eerily similar to modern wireless networks, radar, and renewable energy systems. While many of these ideas remained unrealized, they paint a portrait of a mind decades, if not centuries, ahead of its time. Tesla once remarked, "The present is theirs, the future, for which I really worked, is mine." Those words became prophecy, for though he was often dismissed and ignored during his lifetime, the modern world now runs on countless systems inspired by his genius. From wireless communication to renewable energy, from robotics to medical imaging, Tesla's fingerprints are etched into the very fabric of the 21st century. Despite his brilliance and his world-changing inventions, Nikola Tesla's later years became a slow and painful descent into obscurity, poverty, and isolation, a tragic downfall that reflected the world's failure to value a man who had given it so much. At the peak of his career, Tesla had the chance to secure wealth and power. His patents for alternating current could have made him one of the richest men alive. But Tesla, guided by ideals rather than greed, tore up the contract that promised him millions in royalties from George Westinghouse, saving the company from bankruptcy but sacrificing his own financial future in the process. It was a gesture of loyalty and compassion, but it left him vulnerable in a ruthless age dominated by capitalists like J.P. Morgan, Thomas Edison, and other industrial titans who understood the power of profit better than the power of vision. Tesla continued to chase bold dreams, none greater than his Wardenclyffe Tower project, a massive structure on Long Island designed to transmit wireless communication and free energy across the globe. In Tesla's mind, it was the key to ending poverty and uniting humanity, but in the eyes of his investors, it was a financial disaster. When Morgan realized there was no profit in unlimited, free energy, he cut funding, and the dream collapsed. Wardenclyffe was abandoned, later dismantled, and Tesla's vision of a world illuminated without wires or bills was ridiculed as fantasy. This failure marked the beginning of his decline. The press, once captivated by his brilliance, began portraying him as eccentric, even mad. His experiments grew stranger. He claimed to have received signals from Mars, spoke of death rays that could end all wars, and predicted technologies far beyond the imagination of his time. To many, these claims sounded like the ramblings of a delusional man rather than the insights of a genius who had already proven the impossible. As the years wore on, Tesla became increasingly reclusive, retreating to hotel rooms in New York City where he lived as a forgotten figure. He walked the streets at odd hours, feeding pigeons in the park and claiming to have formed a deep, almost mystical bond with one particular bird that he said brought him comfort in his loneliness. His obsession with cleanliness and routines grew extreme, and his eccentric habits made him a subject of gossip more than respect. Financially ruined, he often could not pay his hotel bills, surviving on the quiet charity of Westinghouse and a few admirers who still believed in him. In his final decades, the man who once lit up the Chicago World's Fair and dreamed of powering the planet with free energy lived in near darkness, his notebooks filled with untested inventions and unfulfilled dreams. On January 7, 1943, Nikola Tesla died alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel, at the age of 86, his body discovered only after the maid entered his room. The man who had once dreamed of bringing light to the entire world left this life in the shadows, penniless, forgotten, and broken. A tragic end to one of the greatest minds in human history. Although Nikola Tesla died poor, alone, and largely forgotten in 1943, his legacy has only grown brighter with the passing of time, transforming him from a misunderstood eccentric into one of the most celebrated visionaries in human history. In the decades after his death, the world began to realize that much of the technology shaping the modern age carried Tesla's fingerprints, from the alternating current that powers our cities to the wireless communication systems that connect billions of people across the globe. Many of the inventions once dismissed as impossible fantasies, radio, remote control, neon lights, robotics, renewable energy concepts, and even the dream of wireless transmission either became reality or inspired generations of inventors who followed in his footsteps. Today, Tesla is not remembered as the forgotten rival of Edison, but as the genius who dared to dream beyond profit and personal gain, a man who envisioned a world where energy and knowledge would flow freely, uplifting all of humanity. His name now lives on not only in science books and documentaries but in popular culture, celebrated by filmmakers, writers, and even in the global rise of Tesla Motors, a company that has become a symbol of innovation and sustainable technology. Beyond his inventions, Tesla's story resonates on a deeply human level. It is the tale of a man who gave everything for progress yet received little in return, of a dreamer crushed by the weight of a world not ready for his vision. His life is a reminder of how society often fails to recognize true greatness in its own time, dismissing visionaries as impractical dreamers, only to later embrace their ideas as the foundation of the future. Yet, there is also something timeless and poetic in Tesla's tragedy, because while he may have died in obscurity, his dream of lighting the world has, in many ways, come true. In the end, Tesla's legacy is not just about the machines he built or the patents he filed, it is about the vision he carried, the courage to dream of a better future even when the world turned its back on him. Today, statues of Tesla stand in cities across the world, museums preserve his memory, and millions admire the man once ridiculed as a mad scientist. The child of light, born in a storm, may have left this world in darkness, but his light was never extinguished. It shines brighter than ever in the technologies, ideas, and inspirations that continue to shape humanity's journey. Nikola Tesla may have been a tragic genius, but his true legacy is one of eternal brilliance, a beacon that reminds us what is possible when imagination dares to reach beyond the limits of its time.